Okay, so first question I wanted to ask is, where did you meet Nana at?
Well, it was in an unusual place, as a matter of fact. It was in a pickle factory in New London, Wisconsin. We were both working in this factory for a summer job when we were out of school, and we happened to both go to work the same morning, and we saw each other, and we thought there was something different about each other. And later in the day, we ended up doing jobs in a very similar area so that we got to meet, and the rest is history. We've been married 57 years.
All right. It's quite a while. Next is, where did your family come from? Like, where did they come from?
Some of my distant relatives, which I would say is my great-grandparents that I'm aware of, came from Germany. Some of them came from England, and my namesake came from Denmark.
Okay. That's where Olesen comes from. Alright, and the last question is, how is the world today different from when it was when you were a child?
It's completely different. You wouldn't realize it unless you were there. When I was a kid, we didn't have indoor plumbing, which meant that we had an outhouse to go to the bathroom. We did not have water in the house. We did not have central heat. We did not have air conditioning. We did not have a television. We barely had a radio. And for a phone, we didn't have a cell phone. We had a wall, wooden, hand-cranked phone that you had to call the operator to make a phone call. You could not dial it or anything else. We did have electricity, and we had heat in the house. And it was a little better than a log cabin, but nothing like today. And as far as cars, my first car was a Model A pickup truck. 1931, Model A pickup truck. That's a little different than today, too. There were no computers. There was, like I said, there was no TVs. The cars were totally different than they are now. There was no such thing as a seat belt. Cars didn't have them. There was no turn signals. A lot of them didn't even have radios. And the shopping and everything else, there was no such thing when I was a kid as a mall. There was a downtown, similar to downtown San Angelo, in the old part of town, and you walked from store to store. And most people went shopping on Friday night. I grew up in Wisconsin, so the weather was a lot different than here. Of course, the weather's still that way in Wisconsin. There was none of the modern appliances. We didn't have microwaves. We didn't have Keurig coffee makers. We didn't even have a lot of the foods we have today. A lot of the stuff was, instead of hundreds of types of cereal, we might have had cornflakes, Cheerios, and shredded wheat maybe. We didn't have the variety that we've got today. And we certainly didn't have all these modern conveniences that we've got today. We didn't have refrigerators with ice makers and water in the door. We didn't have any of these modern conveniences that we've got today. I went to a one-room schoolhouse from first grade through 8th grade, like Little House on the Prairie. That's changed. There are no anymore. Nothing like that. So all those things like that is what you see on the old stories on TV. That's what it was like. Best I can say is it was very similar to Little House on the Prairie. And as you said, now it's all changed. There was no space station. There was none of the electronics that we've got today. We had none of that. We had basic electricity. That was it.
Okay.
So it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And it's still changing.
That's true. It'll be different when I'm older. I'm sure I'll have similar stories, and my grandkids will look at me and say, "Oh, that's so caveman days."
I expect it's going to change considerably when I get older.
True. All right, well, thank you very much for spending the time to do this.
Good luck.